Okay, great. Great. Hello, everyone. My name is Kim McLeod, and I'm going to be your instructor this beautiful Saturday. We are going to make some really fun holiday handprint cards. And the handprint cards are based off of one of my kits. I'll show you, zoom in of that. If you don't have it, don't worry, because you can still make it without the kit, or you can pick the kit up after the class is done, and I'll walk through all that. But I am the creator behind the Best Ideas for Kids. I have an Instagram and a website, so you can find me at Best Ideas for Kids, or you can go on my website, thebestideasforkids.com. I have all of these handprint crafts on my website as well, so if you miss anything and you want to see it visually with photos, you can go on my website and find it there, or you can catch the YouTube video. It'll be uploaded after we're all done in a few days. So I'm going to walk through kind of what we're going to make. It's really, really cute. And the best part is you can give these cards to people for the holidays after you're done. So I've got a snowman here. We probably won't be able to make them all, but we're going to see how many we can get through in our time here. Christmas tree. We can all open up. An elf. A reindeer. A Santa. And a gnome. This is what we're gonna start with the snowman and see how many we can make today. So if you don't have the kit, here's what you'll need to grab. You'll want to grab a bunch of colored paper. So I like to use cardstock, but if you have construction paper, any type of colored paper, you want a nice mix of different colors. You'll want a black, and you'll want some white and some different colors. So grab some construction paper, or if you have cardstock paper, or even just regular colored paper will work. So you'll need some paper, and you'll need a pencil to trace your handprint. And then depending on which ones we get to, like this little elf guy, he's got some googly eyes. So if you have some googly eyes, grab those. If you don't, that's okay, because you can actually draw some eyes on the paper as an alternative. And then if you have some cotton balls for the elf, it's another thing we can add here. If you don't, again, we can make an alternative with paper. And then if you have some pom-poms, we're going to add pom-poms along the elf's top there and for his nose. Again, if you don't have pom-poms, we can use paper, and I'll walk you guys through that. And then the final thing is that you'll want is a black marker. I'm using a Sharpie, but you can use just a regular black marker because it's a permanent marker. So you probably will want to grab a just plain black marker that you have handy, like a washable one. Okay, and then you also need glue. Can't forget glue. So I've got a glue stick and some white glue. All right, so we can flip it over, and I'm going to show you guys the kit and what we have here. So I'm going to open the kit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through making it with the kit, but then also how to make it with the materials that I just showed you to grab, which is the paper. We're going to start with the snowman. As we're getting set up here, does anyone want to tell me what state or country you're joining us from? I'm actually up near Toronto in Canada. We have had some snow here, but we haven't had enough snow to build a snowman just yet. So in the kit, you get all the items kind of pre-cut, which is nice. I'm just going to dump them out here. So it saves a bit of time because you don't have to pre-cut all these little bits and pieces out yourself, but it is fun to draw them yourself too. So we're going to do that together. Okay. So that, and then we need the paper. So let's start with the snowman. I'll just show you it here. This guy is the guy we're going to start with. And so you'll need the white paper. You'll need white paper or white construction paper. Now in the kit, it comes with the paper already folded in half, like a card ready to go. So I've got that. And then I'm gonna grab some white paper of my own here. Okay, so I've got a sheet of white paper of my own. So if you don't have the kit paper, what you wanna do is just fold over a regular piece of white paper to get the same shape. We want it folded. Now you don't have to fold it. If you just wanna make the snowman as a craft and not make it a card, you could do that too. But if you want to make it a card, then we have to fold the paper over, because then when we trace our handprint, we're going to be able to open that card like that. So super, super cute. Okay, so I have my daughter's handprint I already traced here because mine's a little bit too big to trace to show you guys. So what you want to do now that you have your paper folded over is you're going to want to take your hand and you're going to want to put your pinky finger along the folded part of the paper. So we're making the snowman. This is the thumb here of your handprint, and then this is the pinky here. So that when you open it, it kind of opens like that. So your pinky along the folded part, your thumb kind of sticking out there. Take a pencil and now trace along your hand. Like that. Okay, so I'm gonna, because I don't want such a big hand, I guess I could make my own hand, but it's a little bit cuter as a smaller hand. So I'm gonna use my daughter's handprint I already traced out before and just retrace it here. Okay, so I've got one ready to go from the paper that I have handy. And then this is the kit paper. So I'm going to trace that. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention you need scissors because we'll have to cut these out. So there we go. Okay, so you got, hopefully you have your handprint now traced onto your folded paper. Again, it opens up like that. And then now is you just cut it out. And if you need help with the cutting part, if you have somebody who maybe is close by that can cut, if you're not very good at cutting, maybe ask for some help from an adult or an older brother or sister maybe. They can help you cut out your handprint. This is going to be the most difficult part of what we do here today. Okay, so I'm going to cut out both of these handprints because we're going to decorate them both. Okay, now when you cut it out, you might have some pencil lines still. If you just take your eraser, I mean, some of that's going to get covered up by our hats here, so it won't matter. But if any of them are really showing too much, you can just erase those pencil marks. Okay, cutting out my second one here. Now, how many people live in a location where it snows? If it snows where you are, let us know.
So far, we've had people say that they're from California, North Carolina, and New Hampshire.
Nice.
New Hampshire might get some snow, but maybe not the California people.
I was just wondering that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I live in an area where we get a lot of snow. I've had snow taller than me some years, which is fun, I guess. Fun if you want to build snowman for sure. Okay, so do we have our handprints cut out here? So now they open up like that. And now we're ready to start decorating it. So with the kit, it comes with all the hats to glue on. So I'm just going to get them kind of situated here. Pull them all out. And then we'll make our own hats. If you don't have the kit, no problem. I'll show you how you can easily make your own hats here. Okay. So you can actually make the snowman hat any color you want, but I'm going to make it black just to match what I've got over on this guy here. So I'm going to start. I could actually trace this, but since you don't have it, I'm just going to actually draw it myself. Just kind of 2 lines, a line across, come down, and then almost like a rectangle at the bottom. It's almost like a square and then a long rectangle at the bottom to get the shape. You can kind of see that. So you want a little like rectangle and then a square on top. So I'm going to cut that out. That'll just get me 1 hat, and I'll show you what you can do to make 4 more the same size. Okay. I'm going to make the top a little bit taller actually to match. Okay, so there's 1. If you wanted to, you could even add an extra strip of paper here to decorate it a little bit more like these ones, just to make it a little bit fancier, I guess. So to save time, I'm going to fold over my black paper here just once, and then I'm going to use the one that I just cut out, and I'm going to put it on top of my folded paper and trace it to get more hats that are the exact same size. This just cuts out some time having to draw them all. So now I have 2 more to cut out here, but when I cut these out, because it's folded over, I'll actually get 2. Okay. That piece out, make it easier to cut. Okay, I've got the 2 here. And now I'm just going to cut these out. That was 1, and now I have 2 because they were folded over. Okay, so now I have 3. So I just have this last one to cut out here. Okay, so now I have 5 hats. We can start gluing our hats on. So for paper, I really like to use a glue stick. I just find it's a little bit less messy than white glue, but if you have white glue, that's fine. Any kind of glue works. Now that you have your 5 hats, if you don't yet, that's okay, because I'm going to start gluing these ones on. And actually, I'm going to just glue the edge of the handprint there. Okay, so we got our hats on this one. Now we just need to glue these ones on. Same thing, just add a little bit of glue stick. I love this one because you don't need a lot of supplies. Turns out super cute. And it's such a nice keepsake card to give to somebody because I love handprint crafts. Something you want to keep and hold on to because your hands will continue to get bigger, but that little hand you made will always stay with the handprint in the card that you give to somebody. They'll always remember what size your hand was of that year. And there's actually a little tip. Make sure you write the year on the back. So put 2021, December 2021. So whoever you're giving it to knows what year it was and how old you were. Okay, so we got our hats. Now we can work on, probably let's do the carrot nose next. So I've got these little, they're almost like, they're so tiny. These little carrot noses. Got them already printed out and cut out, actually, I should say, in the kit. I just have to find one more. Ah, there it is. Okay. So I've got orange paper. If you don't have orange paper, you can also use a marker and draw them on as well. But I'm going to just cut out same kind of idea here, but out of my orange paper. For this one, because they're pretty small, I'll probably just draw them all and just cut them out because it'll be hard to trace such a small thing. So I'm just going to draw kind of a similar shape. It's almost like a triangle. If you're drawing them with a marker, you can just draw the nose on. Or if you're doing it with a marker, I'd probably wait maybe after the eyes are done. Maybe we should add the eyes first. Let's do that. So before we glue on the carrot nose, let's add 2 dots for the eyes, just so we know that the nose goes right underneath. You could also use, like if you have really small googly eyes, you could use really small googly eyes too. But I like these little dots for the snowman eyes. Okay, so now we know where we're gonna, now if you are gonna draw the carrot nose on, now you know where your eyes are, they can go right underneath that. So I'm gonna cut these out. There's one. Maybe I'll. Okay, last one here. There. They're so tiny. Look at how tiny those little carrot noses are. Okay, so to glue these on, again, I think a glue stick works best, but if you don't have a glue stick, just use a very, very tiny amount of white glue. It might be easier to put the white glue in a dish or on like a paper plate and dip it into the glue so you don't, make a huge glue glob on your card, because you only need a really, really small amount. So to glue them on, you can just kind of tap them gently on top of your glue stick there, and then start laying them on your paper. And you can make them kind of go different directions, gives them a bit more character that way, kind of look a little different if you alternate a few of them different direction. There we go. They're just so cute. Okay, so I got that one done. Now I'm just going to glue these ones. This almost looks like it could be a snowman family. You could even, give one of them some eyelashes or some hair. You can get as creative as you want. You don't have to make it look exactly the same. Okay, so we got all of our carrot noses on. So now we can draw the mouth on, and then we'll work on the scarves. So there's a couple ways you can do the mouth. You can do dots for the mouth, or you can kind of just draw a little smiley face. I'll just show you a little bit closer up here. This one I drew just like little smiley faces, and I have them kind of on an angle to give them a little bit of a smirk, but you can just kind of draw a simple smiley face on them too, however you want them to look like. Again, add your personal touch, because that's what's going to make this really special to whoever you decide to give it to. Okay. They're already looking so cute. Okay, so for the next step, we have to make the scarves. Now in the kit, it actually comes with some felt scarf stickers. There you go. So they're like, it's like a felt material. So you just have to peel off the scarf, and then if you want, you can match it to the hat, or you can put it wherever you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for this one, and then I'll show you how you can make your own scarves really easily. Does anyone have any questions so far? Or need me to kind of explain a step again? Something was confusing.
We haven't received any questions yet, but in case people are typing them out, we did get more comments of where people are from. We have Florida, so not a very snowy place. And
I wonder if Florida's ever had snow.
And then someone else said they're from Colorado, and so they probably have a lot of snow.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, if you want to see snow sometime in your lifetime, you got to come up to Canada. We have lots of snow here. Okay, so for the scarves, for the one I'm going to make, I'm going to grab a bunch of different colored paper. If you only have one color, that's okay. You could use all, you could give them all, make all red scarves, all yellow scarves. So if you only have one color of paper, no problem. You can give them all the same colored scarf. But I'm going to kind of use a few different colors here. And scrap paper, these kind of projects where you have like such a small thing to make, save your scrap paper. So when you cut out something, like for example, this orange, I cut out all the carrot noses from. This little strip, don't throw this out, because you could still cut out so many things from here, and cutting out, I'm not going to do an orange scarf because of the carrot nose, but you could easily use this little piece for this project. So I always like to save scrap paper for other projects and reusing that paper so it doesn't go to waste. Okay, so I've got 5 different colors here. I'm just going to cut out a little piece from each to make my scarf. You don't need a huge piece for your scarf, so I've just got these 5 pieces here now. So you can see kind of the size. So probably just measure it. It's about 2 of my fingers in terms of a size, but you could also put it up to your own handprint, because you want it to fit across the finger here. You don't want it hanging too far over. So I'm gonna just put it up to my finger here and mark it. because I want a little hangover so it looks like it's flying in the wind a little bit. And I'm going to cut that out. And I'll use that as a guide for the other ones for size. So I've got just a little, it's again like a rectangle piece. And I'll use that as a guide so I can make all the other sizes. Just like a little strip of paper is all you need. The other thing is, if this is too difficult to make the scarves, you could even just draw on the scarves with a marker easily. And then you could just have that kind of a line going across with a little bit coming down like these felt pieces here. Okay, so I've got 5 of them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 little strips. Okay, so to make them look like they're kind of flying in the wind a bit, I'm just going to add a little bit of cut marks on one side. So I'm going to cut little like slits on one side of my scarf there. And then you can flare it up a little bit. I'm going to glue it down, and actually that wasn't big enough for the thumb. I'm going to have to get a bigger piece for the thumb, but I can use this one maybe there. Might have to measure each finger if it doesn't fit across. I kind of made them based on this finger, but my thumb is bigger. Okay, so that one fits there. Let's see if we can get, I'll measure. This one can go beside it. So I'll cut. Clear it out just to get it to kind of stick up. And glue. Oops. So you can see me gluing it there. Glue it down. Like that. Okay, let's see. Does our yellow fits? So I'll do that one. And I think I'm gonna have to cut out 2 bigger ones for my pinky and thumb. Clear it out. We got 3 done. So I need a bit of a longer one now for my thumb here. Just gonna measure that. Cut that out. Clear it. Then we'll glue it. Okay, so we just have one more to go. So my green, I need a bit longer. It's I made his face a little bit lower down on the pinky there, so it needs to be a little bit longer, just like the red one there. So about here, so I can have a little bit sticking out. And I'm gonna make this one actually go the other direction from the others, just because then I can angle it a little bit better. Okay, so we got our scarves on. So the final step, if you want, is to add some buttons with a marker. So I just, this one, just 3 little dots under each snowman. With a black marker. Okay. And then because your card actually opens up, we can write whatever you want inside. So I'm just going to write Merry Christmas. But you can write anything you want inside. Don't forget to add your name and the date on the back. Okay, so that's the snowman. So I think we will have time for one more, maybe two, depending on how long it takes. How about we see you guys vote on which one you want to do next out of these two. And then we'll see what the majority says. So we've got Christmas tree or an elf. We'll see which one you guys want to vote to write in, which one you want to make next. And then we'll see what the majority says.
So far, the majority is saying elf. We have elf, 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 and then 2 for tree, but looks like elf is winning out today.
Okay, elf is winning. If we have time, we can do the tree after we are done the elf. I'll make sure I got the right paper here. Yeah. Okay, so for the elf, you're gonna need green paper and brown paper. You're gonna need a pom-pom for the nose. So I've got a little red one here and 3 white pom-poms for the hat. If you don't have pom-poms, you could just draw these items on. And then googly eyes for the eyes. Again, if you don't have it, that's fine. You can draw them on. And some cotton balls, or you could, if you don't have cotton balls, you could put pom-poms along the top as well. Then we'll need a black marker for his mouth. And if you have pink paper, you could add little pink paper to the side for the cheeks, or we can add paint, and I'll show you how to do it with paint on the one that I make with my brown paper. Okay, so I've got, we'll start with the brown paper. To start, so same thing where we're going to make it a handprint card again. So see how this one from the kit is folded over. So if you have brown paper, you want to fold it over just like we did with the snowman. And then trace your hand the same way, because we want the pinky here and the thumb here. So it's kind of like that. And then that's how it opens. Same idea. So using my daughter's handprint here, her pinky is here, her thumb is here. I'm going to trace my handprint here, but for you guys, trace your hand along the folded part of the paper. Place your pinky there. Okay. Now, if you don't have brown paper, or if you have brown paint, you could actually use white paper and paint it. So that's an option too. So if you have white paper, because we used it for the snowman, you could paint it. That'll take a bit of time to dry, so you'll have to let it dry, and then you could follow all the steps that we're going to go through once it dries. So I would paint the paper first, or you could cut it out, actually the white paper, then paint your handprint, and then follow all the same steps. So I'm going to cut these out. Go ahead and cut out your handprint. Okay. Don't need that. While we're cutting out these handprints, I want to know, does anyone have a favorite holiday movie? And I'll give you a hint. Which one's my favorite holiday movie? Has something to do with the craft we're making right now. If anybody can guess that, and then tell me what your favorite holiday movie is. Okay, got both those cut out. So the next step is we want to get green to make kind of a hat out of these 3 fingers. Now you could do this 2 different ways. You can actually paint your paper. Now, if you're painting a white paper, then I would paint, green here and then brown everywhere else. But if you're painting, if you're using brown paper, sorry, you can just paint on top and it should show up fine. But we're going to use paper and glue the paper on top. So for the kit, I'm just going to trace the handprint that I had and cut that out to glue on top. Oops. There should be an extra green paper for you to do this. So like that. And if it doesn't look perfect on the bottom, that's okay, because we're going to add the kind of cotton ball material on top of it. Okay, I know this looks funny, but when we glue it on, it's going to make sense. So we traced out those 3 fingers. Now we're just going to glue them on top there, just to make it kind of look like he has a hat on those fingers.
We have a lot of people who guessed that your favorite movie was Elf. And some other favorites were Santa Claus, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, The Grinch. Oh,
that's a good one. Yeah, I think I have 2 favorite. I actually really like The Grinch. I like all the Grinch movies. But I was thinking about the Elf because that's what we're making. I love the Elf movies. So cute and so funny. So yeah, but those are all really good guesses. So for the one that I'm making on my own, I've got, actually, let me use this color. It's a little bit brighter. I've got green paper. I'm going to do the same thing that I did. Let's trace around here to glue on top. If it's easier to paint, you can paint it too. There's less cutting out of paper. Okay. Cut this out. And then we're going to glue it on top. Same thing. Like that. Now we've got our kind of hat there. So for the brim of our hat, I like to use just a cotton ball, and you can take it and stretch it kind of to make it a little bit more fluffy. And then it kind of gets to almost the perfect size there. And you can glue it on. The other thing is, if you don't have cotton balls, you could take pom-poms and you could glue like little white pom-poms along there as another option. The other thing you could do is you could take some white paper, not that white paper, but draw out kind of like a fluffy, almost like a cloud looking piece of paper, cut that out, and you could put that, glue that on top for a white brim of the hat there. So I'm going to glue this on. And then in the kit, it comes with this polyester, gotta get the wording right. Like what it's called. I don't see it. Let's see what it's called, but it's like a similar kind of filling material. And to make it a little bit less fluffy, go like this, and it kind of condenses it a little bit. Like that. Might be a little bit too big, so I'm gonna pull a little bit off. And do the same thing, glue it on. Okay. And then now we can glue the pom-poms on top. Like that. If you don't have pom-poms, you could just leave that blank on top. It still look like an elf. Or you could use paper. For the pom-poms, actually, I'm going to use, the kit comes with these glue dots. So I'm going to use the glue dots because I find pom-poms are a little bit trickier to glue with like a glue stick. But these adhesive dots, actually, they're called.
It looks like your overhead camera is frozen. And we can't hear you.
I don't know what happened there. It looks like my other camera, no, it's still frozen. So I don't know why that happened. But I'm going to show you, whoops, I'll just kind of hold it up instead. So I'm just still gluing on the pom-poms and I'm using, I was using some adhesive dots. I just lost my one pom-pom. Some more over here. Okay. I'm using some adhesive dots here to glue it on. But if you have regular glue, white glue, that'll be good. Or if you have hot glue, then that'll work great too. So we've got the hat done on our elves. The next step is adding his face. So the googly eyes are great. I'm gonna glue, I've got some googly eyes here and the kit also comes with some. If you don't have googly eyes, that's okay. You can draw your own eyes just on white paper and cut them out, or you can draw them directly on your handprint too, just with like a little black marker. Adding the eyes on. You guys can't see. Let's see if I'm still frozen. I'm still frozen up there for some reason. So I added on the eyes. And then for a nose, you could draw on like a red nose, or you could add a pom-pom. So I'm going to glue on a pom-pom. I'm going to use the adhesive dot again. If you don't have an adhesive dot, hot glue is good if you can get an adult to help. Or you can use like a really strong white glue, just let it dry, give it some time to dry. Because I find with pom-poms, they're really tricky to stick sometimes. So that's why I like the adhesive dots or using like a stronger glue so that they don't fall off. I've got that glued on next. We've got our eyes. This one, off a bit. There we go. The googly eyes are really cute. Okay, so the last step is just drawing on his mouth, and then optional would be to add cheeks if you want. So I'm gonna just draw on his mouth with a marker. And I'm giving him a bit of a smirk, but you can give him kind of any kind of smiley face you want, just with a marker there. And then the kit comes with these it comes with a bunch of these pink papers to glue on the side. So I'm going to glue it on the kit version, and then I'll show you quickly how to add pink onto the other version with some paint. Okay, so he's all done. Super cute. Also, the kit comes with these little holly pieces you can glue on, but that's totally optional. You don't need to actually, if you don't have the kit, you don't need to add that on the bottom there. So for this one, I'm just going to show you guys how to quickly, because I know we're almost out of time, but quickly, if you want to add little cheek marks, get some pink paint, or you can cut out pink paper too, is another option. I'm just show you quickly with some pink paint. Take the back of a pencil where your rubber is, and just make sure you wash it after you're done so that the paint doesn't stay there and ruin your eraser. But dip it into, so I've got, oh geez, lighting, there we go. So you can see I got a little bit of pink paint. I'm gonna dip my pencil, back with a pencil into the paint, and then just dab it onto the sides. And it just makes the perfect kind of little circle marks. And all you need to do is wash your pencil right away so that paint doesn't dry. But there you go, you have your elf all finished, both of them here. Super, super cute. Hopefully you guys were able to follow along making the snowman and the elf today. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you want more crafts from the Best Ideas for Kids, make sure you look me up on Instagram with a parent. My handle is @bestideyasforkids. And you can also go on my website, thebestideasforkids.com. I have a lot more crafts there. And all of these craft kits, actually this one in particular, is available at Michael's, but there's 7 other kits. I'm going to be doing a paper roll kit class on December 14th. So if you enjoyed this one, make sure to join that one as well. You don't need the kit. I'll make sure to have everything and walk through kind of what you need if you don't have the kit. I'll include paper rolls, paper, similar kind of supplies as well. So thank you guys so much. I hope you had fun and enjoyed making these handprint cards with me today. Happy holidays.